Well, demonstrators have clashed with police at a rally in Sydney against tough COVID-19 restrictions. Several people who breached strict stay-at-home orders were arrested. The huge group started at Victoria Park and took over city streets as they walked towards Town Hall shouting freedom. New South Wales Police described the protests as unauthorised. Mounted police and riot officers tried to control the crowd. As you can see there, reinforcements were brought in. State's Health Minister has criticised the demonstration.
We live in a democracy, and normally I am certainly one who supports people's right to protest, but I actually think it's really silly. At the present time, we've got cases going through the roof, and we have people thinking that it's okay to get out there and possibly be close to each other in a demonstration. I just think that's a bit silly. But anyway.
There are also planned protests expected today in Melbourne, Adelaide, Canberra and Brisbane. We'll have more on that story throughout the afternoon.
Good evening. Anti-lockdown protesters have marched through the city, chanting Free Victoria and lighting flares on the steps of State Parliament. Victoria recorded 12 new cases today, in sharp contrast to New South Wales' record 163 infections. And anger is exploding in Sydney. Thousands there marching too, clashing with police and risking further spread of the virus. Maggie Rayworth begins our coverage.
Violent clashes with police. Thousands of protesters stormed the city streets. Using smoke flares and drums, they made their presence known. Starting at Flinders Street, from there, demonstrators sprawled across the city.
Our kids are worth the fight! We're labelled a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I'm a mother of three. I have a career.
Shoulder to shoulder, they rallied in droves. There was hardly a mask in sight. These people want out of lockdown number 5, claiming they've been robbed of their rights.
Let us be free and enjoy our lives instead of being locked up in 4 walls.
People should have their freedom. That's our human right.
Many were furious and today aimed that rage at police. Hundreds of officers were out in force but were well and truly outnumbered. The mounted branch called in as many marchers became aggressive and quickly turned on the media too. These women lashed out, even spitting on the 9 News crew.
No more lockdown!
Multiple tram routes were forced to a halt.
Protesters here say they'll go to great lengths to have their voices heard. Many here are prepared to be arrested, saying they want to show their commitment to the cause.
And as Melburnians eagerly await the end of lockdown, this could be the event that extends it.
Beyond disappointment, it places at risk the work we have all done.
In lockdown Sydney, protesters also arced up in their thousands. Unmasked and angry, they swarmed the CBD, crying for freedom from stay-home orders. Despite a huge police presence from above, on the ground and on horseback, the force at times appeared overwhelmed. With the mood boiling over and anger intensifying, more than 60 arrests were made. Former footballer and boxer Anthony Mundine spotted without a mask again. His personal message:
Where's your mask today?
I'm exempt.
Do you believe in the public health orders, Anthony?
No.
In the nation's 2 largest cities, frustration is building. But time will tell if these mass gatherings grow to become new super-spreading events.
And Maggie joins us now. Maggie, do we know how many people were arrested in Melbourne?
Alicia, I've just been told that today police made 6 arrests at today's anti-lockdown protest. We know that today rules were broken, masks were barely worn, and we know that protesting is certainly not on the list of 5 reasons to leave the house. Today's event has certainly been slammed by authorities. It's been labelled reckless and irresponsible. Our Chief Health Officer tweeting this just moments ago, saying, let's not pretend that marching for freedom will actually deliver the precious freedom. And Alicia, it hasn't yet been revealed whether or not there are further plans for protests.
OK, Maggie Rayworth, thank you.
On Sydney's worst day of infections, thousands of protesters swarmed CBD streets, breaching restrictions to rally against lockdown and the COVID-19 vaccine. A police officer sprayed with paint as the riot squad tried to gain control. Reinforcements bust in, making arrest after arrest. The chaos unfolded at midday, just an hour after the New South Wales government revealed its highest COVID tally yet. 163 new cases, with 45 infectious in the community. 139 people are in hospital, 37 of those in ICU and 17 on ventilators.
We've got cases going through the roof, and we have people thinking that it's okay to get out there and possibly be close to each other.
In Melbourne, more lockdown anger. Flares set off as demonstrators demanded freedom.
It places at risk the work we have all done.
Victoria has 12 new cases. 10 were in quarantine. In Brisbane, protesters flocked to the City Botanic Gardens.
When in history have we seen governments work together? Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, doesn't matter. Yeah, put it on. Be a sheep. Put it on. I don't care. Be a sheep.
People of all ages.
There's two different realities going on. And you can see there's a whole different reality here versus the people who are at home scared to go outside.
Families fed up with restrictions.
My family overseas in New Zealand had only seen our youngest son for the first time a few weeks ago.
Passers-by bewildered.
It was my mum or dad who got coronavirus because something like this happening here, I'd be kind of mad.
If there's people in hospital beds dying and are dead, then you can't really argue against that.
Traffic was brought to a standstill in the CBD as thousands of protesters marched along George Street in defiance of masks, lockdown and vaccines.
The crowd was non-violent.
We are not anti-vaxxers. We do not want experimental gene therapy.
But hostile to media.
And you don't have a right to push your lies on mainstream media. You don't have a right. Excuse me? Yeah, no.
Under current restrictions, people outdoors don't need to wear or carry a mask, as long as they're social distancing. Police say they'll be monitoring footage and taking enforcement action if required. Queensland recorded 0 new cases today, but the state remains on high alert, especially in Longreach, after a Delta-positive flight attendant flew there.
A little bubble, I guess, now has been burst.
Nobody deliberately does this, but it can happen, and it only takes one.
While much of the remote community is vaccinated, locals are masking up and lining up for tests. Anything to stop an outbreak out back. Alex Lewis, 7 News.